welcome to another episode of Some of Our Parts, the podcast where two friends talk about the movies that add up to make us who we are. I'm Lindsay,
And I'm Jam.
and this week Jim picked our movie. So, Jim, tell us what you had us watch.
Well, I picked a movie from my high school days. Surprise, surprise. And I think some of it was because of school starting. And I'm hearing a lot of people, talking about the kids going back to school. And so I went back all the way back to my sophomore year in high school. And the significance of this movie is this is the first movie that I ever went on a date with a girl to, that I took, a girl and drove to the movie theater.
Ooh,
So this was like a date, and and it was 1973, and the movie is The Way We Were with Robert Redford and Barbra Streisand.
a classic.
It is. This was oddly enough, and I had to look it up. So the same year or around the same time, The Sting came out with Robert Redford and Paul Newman.
Mm.
So two big movies, that really played a part in my high school. We talked about The Sting, and a lot of us guys dressed, like we were gangsters and stuff
Hmm.
back from the 20s and 30s when we were seniors and juniors. But this was, like I said, the this was the big date movie, and so I
Hmm.
finally worked up enough nerve to ask a girl to the movies, and lo and behold, she said yes. So that's what I picked. And now we talked earlier. You have not seen the movie, correct?
Correct, correct. I was familiar with it. I've heard of it. Barbara Streisand was just at the Oscars this year doing a tribute to Robert Redford since he died, talking about the way we were, and then she like broke out into the song, um, just like from the podium, like one does. So I'd heard of it. I think I've heard the song before. As we were talking about too, there is I have watched like all of Sex and the City, and there is a particular episode where Carrie, the main character, is talking about her like sort of on again, off again relationship with Mr. Big in these terms that she's the Katie, he's the Hubble.
Oh, okay. So
And like sort of talking about like how beautiful and romantic this movie is. So it's funny, I like had some understanding that they like don't end up together, but I thought that like as I told you that I was going to be rooting for them to be together. And then I watched this and I was like, oh, I'm not. Like from very early on, I'm like, no. Like pretty early in the movie, I was like, Katie, what are you doing? Get up.
Well, I will tell you, and I do remember, and I know it's a long time ago, but I remember like this was the big, Redford and Streisand, and then
Hmm.
the big, and this was when they advertised movies in the newspapers, and they had the big
Hmm.
picture, and I thought, this was going to be, like romantic, which it is, but I remember at the end of the movie, my date was sobbing, so it was like,
Yeah.
because she was so upset, because, you know, we'll get to the ending, but why? But it was like I was looking and I thought, maybe not the best movie to take someone on a
A
first
date
date.
movie?
Well,
Yeah.
or the first date, like,
That's true.
yeah. So anyway, however,
Yeah.
that being said, we did date for a while, so it did not
Okay.
spoil the relationship. But
I think
and
the
I
first movie I saw on a date was The Grudge, so this is better.
oh, gotta say, yeah. So, that's a toughie.
Yeah.
Uh, but now every time I either hear the song, honest to goodness, or see the movie, I
Mhm.
think of her. So, and then
That's
it just,
sweet.
yeah, it was kind of like my first romance.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so sort of like the way whenever you see The Grudge it's, I'm sure you think
What a
of.
great association.
Right. Yeah. So like, gee, if somebody's, dies in a horrible way
Hmm.
or has a head grown out of the back of their head, so a face
Yeah.
grown out. So what were your impressions of the movie other than, like you said, it wasn't one where you wanted to root
Hmm.
for the relationship
Yeah,
after a while?
I liked it. I liked the jump around in time. I think there was some good dialogue. Um I think that Robert Redford and Barbara Streisand were really good because like Robert Redford, I was just like, oh, at him like most of the time, but then it's like but he's Robert Redford. He's like so charming and like good looking. It's like I see why she's getting pulled back in, but I'm like, Katie, girl, stand on your own. You can
And
do
I,
it. But I think that that's also like real too, right? Like as frustrating as it can be to like watch, and certainly it's like set in rather like kind of dramatic and stark terms. I do think that like this is a real thing. Like in relationships, right? Sometimes people are fundamentally
yeah,
incompatible and like you like are willing it to work and it's like you do really have feelings for this person, but it's just like it's just not. It's just not there. And it's like, oh God, like there were times that she came across like so desperate, but it's like, like she really loved him and like wanted it to work. So and he was
yeah.
just being so aloof and I'm just like, girl.
Yeah,
hmm
because like you can love somebody, but you don't necessarily like them, that sort of
hmm
thing. Like you said, like either a physical attraction or whatever it may be, and please, people, if you've not seen who Robert Redford is and know what he looks like, so please. So,
Right.
on the other hand, subsequently, from my point of view, I thought Barbara Streisand looked fabulous, and she that's the kind of person I'm attracted to, is someone who has looks and smarts, but
hmm
someone who's able to carry on a conversation, and is well versed in current affairs and so on. But I think that Robert had his share of somebody that was very striking looking as well. So that's what
Absolutely.
Katie's not classically beautiful as we would
hmm
maybe normally describe people, but she's striking looking. And I think,
hmm
and as I told you before, I don't think Barbara Streisand ever looked better. So,
Yeah, yeah. I think she looked great, and I think that like also, and I made notes of some like her like hair and makeup and wardrobe are also really good in this, especially as I told you, the parts when they're in California. I think her outfits and her makeup there I really love. But yeah, and I think that she has like such a striking, especially in profile,
hmm
like with her nose, which I am so happy that she like kept because I think if she was an actress today, then like they would have made her get a nose job.
I'm sure that somebody would have done something about, or said
Yeah.
something to her. So,
Because I feel like
but
so now people are like getting so many like things that everyone starts to look the same and also like their faces don't move. And I was thinking in the car the other day about how like in like the 70s especially like there were so many like character actors and stuff that like looked unique and like a bunch of dudes that like are not that like good looking but like have like an aura about them, like charisma, can perform and like they became like stars or became really successful and that's like I don't know if the same thing could happen today. And I wish it did. I wish that we were back there to see people that look like unique and like human and real on screen as opposed to people with a very specific look or people doing things to achieve a specific look.
I agree. And I was going to say, so I notice it more, with women actors. It's to
hmm
me, they all start to look alike.
hmm
It's like, you can't tell after so many procedures and stuff where one starts and the other one ends. It's sort of
hmm
like, oh, that, who is that? And it used to be, yeah, you could look at someone and they weren't. I saw a story recently. It was talked about Lauren Hutton, who
hmm
became one of the first supermodels and had the space between her teeth and stuff, and she
hmm
refused to get anything done about it because she said, no, that's me, that's who I am. So
hmm
now she is, she's gorgeous, beautiful, and everything, but there was some would say a flaw, but for her it was just a unique feature. So,
hmm
but yeah, so I agree. There's people that, yeah, that now they all look sort of the same, but they don't bring the same, like you said, personality or whatever you want to say, or whatever, however you describe it, to the screen. So, but here, yeah, he's, Robert Redford's Robert Redford. There's no getting around it. So, but
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
Katie was, to me, Katie matched him as far as, like I said, when they made a striking couple in the movie, I
hmm
thought, you know,
Agreed.
so.
Agreed. And funny enough, we're recording this on August 20th. It was just Robert Redford's birthday 2 days ago, which I guess is why it was. I watched it on Turner Classic Movies. It came on Turner Classic Movies on Tuesday, which was his birthday. He would have been
I
90.
which I didn't think of when I picked the movie. I didn't realize that was his birthday at all, and until you had said something to me. So, and then I just happened to see it because I recorded this movie a long time ago when we first
Mhm.
started talking about doing our podcast about because I knew this was going to be on my list. So um, it had aired on Turner Classic Movies. I think it was from a year and a half ago or something. So, but anyway, yeah. So rest in peace, Robert.
Absolutely. I think it was a pretty well-received movie at the time, it seems. I think it looks like it was a box office success, which makes sense because like Robert Redford and Barbra Streisand.
Right.
And it was nominated for a lot of awards. It was nominated for 6 Oscars. It won 2 of them. Barbra Streisand was nominated for Best Actress. She did not win. It
No
was
worries.
nominated for Best Art Direction, Best Cinematography, Best Costume Design. The two that it won are Best Original Dramatic Score for Marvin Hamlish, who did the music, and Best Original Song for The Way We Were, which Marvin Hamlish wrote. He wrote the music, lyrics by Alan and Marilyn Bergman, and sung by Barbra Streisand, which was also a big hit on the charts at the time.
Oh yeah. Well, you still hear it. It's still on.
Hmm.
Played. I'm. I would have liked to have seen it won for best costumes because I thought
Hmm.
the outfits were
Yeah.
really really good. So
Yeah,
I
costume
always like the
design. Honestly, the
vintage.
Sting might have won best costume design because it was the same. Yeah, the Sting. Edith Head won for the Sting for best costume design. So,
Well, it was Edith Head, so
yeah,
as we all know from The Incredibles, she also designed superheroes outfits.
exactly. And no capes. So we can't, yeah. And the Sting also beat it for best art direction, which again, it's like I can't
Well,
argue with that. So
hmm, Robert Redford, both movies, both. It's like you think he got a bonus?
you should.
I know.
And it looks like the critics largely it was good. I think some people it's like it was there were some gaps. A lot of praise for Barbara Streisand. But yeah, we'll talk about that as we get through it. So it was directed by Sidney Pollack, who is a pretty famous director. Also directed Out of Africa, They Shoot Horses, Don't They? Tootsie, 3 Days of the Condor. So actually a couple other Robert Redfords. Absence of Malice, The Firm, Sabrina, the version from the 90s, not the Audrey Hepburn one. And it was written by Arthur Lawrence, who he actually wrote this as a book in 1972.
Mm,
And Arthur Lawrence was like a playwright. He wrote for Broadway. And once again, he got his start writing scripts for radio shows and then for training films for the US Army during World War II. Where where is the military as an artistic development service these days? Because it seems like during World War II, they were really on it.
well, you look at
Um,
all the people that came out of it. I think there were it was Mel Brooks and some other people that were doing
Stanley.
stuff. Yeah, who worked for the for that branch of the service
Hmm.
and
But Arthur Lawrence wrote he wrote the book for a few very famous musicals, West Side Story, Gypsy, Hallelujah Baby. He won the
never heard
Tony
of them.
for the last one. Yeah. West Side Story.
Yeah, yeah.
He
Was
also
there East Side
directed
Story?
it's the sequel. He also, as a screenwriter, wrote the screenplay for Rope, the Alfred Hitchcock movie.
Oh,
He wrote the screenplay for the 1956 Anastasia, Bonjour Tristesse, this movie, and he wrote The Turning Point,
oh, okay.
which is about, isn't it? It's about ballet, right?
Yeah, it's Shirley MacLaine and is it Anne Bancroft?
Yes. Oh, and Mikhail Baryshnikov is in it. And Tom Skerritt, one of our favorites. So yeah, he wrote that too. He also did some directing in theater. He directed Le Cage aux Folles, as we have discussed, which is what Birdcage is based on. He won a Tony for his direction of that. So
Well, there you
pretty
go.
pretty prolific guy. And he wrote this actually. He went to Cornell and he was there in the late 30s and there was a student who he basically was Katie that he
Oh,
met that was like Young Communist League um organizing against the Spanish Civil War and Francisco Franco, and he like remembered her and decided to develop a story with someone like that as its
well, that's
center.
interesting.
And he was also Jewish and like outraged at injustice, so he wanted the character to have those characteristics too. He also was like, there's not a lot of like when it came time to adapt this into the movie, there's not a lot of Jewish women
Hmm.
leads, and he knew Barbra Streisand. He knew also that she was like the most notable like Jewish female star, so he wrote the role for her. And then, as we said, I think the music is the other big piece of this that makes it stand out. So, it won Oscars for the music. The Way We Were is a really big song. It got to number one on like the Billboard charts. It's in the Grammy Hall of Fame. It's in the American Film Institute's 100 Years, 100 Songs list of top best songs in
Oh, I
American
didn't know
cinema.
that. I could see that though. Yeah.
It's included in the list of songs of the century by the Recording Industry Association of America and National Endowment for the Arts. So it's an iconic song. And like I recognized it as soon as like it started playing. I was like, oh, even
Hmm.
before like, before the lyrics kick in, you just hear the
With the intro, yeah, you hear the,
mm,
and then all of a sudden, yeah, you're,
yeah.
so I just start to tear up. So anyway, so
Yeah. So should we talk about the movie?
let's go back to 1937 and it's an undisclosed. We don't know what university it is, do we? We don't know what school it is.
No, I assumed it was like a Columbia. I don't know. Like they're
I
wearing light blue. That's one of their colors, I think.
And I'm
But
guessing somewhere up in somewhere in the Northeast, maybe, or the up in New
yeah,
England, someplace like
yeah,
that.
something like that.
So,
I guess he went to Cornell, but it's not Cornell because they were red at Cornell, but
oh, okay,
whatever. It's
yeah.
something like that. But well, we start, I think, in it's
Well, sorry, yeah,
45-ish,
yeah.
late 40s or early
Hmm.
40s. We're in the towards the end of World War II, and then we jump back and forth. I do like the shifts in time, I will say.
I think they're done very seamlessly, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because some movies do it, and they don't do it well. I get confused sometimes over,
Hmm.
some,
Yeah.
where are we? When is this? And this
Yes.
one was done well. So
Yes. Thankfully, because they changed Barbara Streisand's hair every time they were in a different time period. So it's easy to track.
it is. So yeah, we find out why her hair is different and how it's different. So,
Yes. So it opens with some like jazzy music. It's Marvin Hamlish. We see the pond in Central Park. We're in New York City. And then we see a lady goes into a studio. This is Katie, and she's like a production assistant for like a radio show, like a radio play, that kind of show. And it's funny because she's like inserting what the actress calls communist propaganda into the scripts. And she calls her a reactionary. She's like, well, we need a reactionary to play a reactionary. I'm surprised she didn't call her a fascist because she calls a lot of people fascists.
good point. So,
Then her boss comes in, and he doesn't have a huge role, so I'll just shout him out now. But her boss is named Bill, but he's played by Herb Edelman, who we have met before in The Odd Couple. But if you don't know who he is, I always know him most as Stanley Zbornak from The Golden Girls. So it's
oh,
Dorothy's
okay, yeah.
ex-husband,
So
who's
I
always
remember him
around.
because he was Murray the cop in The Odd Couple. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
so
Yeah. So Murray the cop from The Odd Couple, Stanley from Golden Girls, you know him from something. And he of course he takes over, offers some criticisms. He seems to be sympathetic to Katie's point of view, but is like, all right, we got to get this on the air though. And we see this is kind of the end of World War II. So there are some soldiers who are home after having served, and they go to like one of those big clubs that we've seen in all these movies that take place in the 40s.
It,
Um,
it's El Morocco. Come on.
oh, okay, I'm sorry.
No, no, I'm just kidding. So yeah, I, I, I wrote, we need more nightclubs.
Mm-hmm.
I just say, I'd
Yeah.
love to have a place where you could go to like, and we've talked about this before in other
Mhm.
movies, where you can go have supper, and listen to live music and have a cocktail, or whatever. Just,
Hmm.
just say it. So,
Do a little
uh,
dancing.
do a little dancing, have a floor show, or something. So
Exactly.
yeah, because her boss makes it a big deal. He goes, well, compliments of the government. You're going to El Morocco tonight,
Mm-hmm.
on the
Mm-hmm.
government's tab. So
Yes, because they're making these radio plays are like, I don't know,
propaganda.
propaganda. Yeah. Okay. Glad we're on the same page. So, yeah, because later they're being the edits are coming from the military. They're like, you
Yes.
can't say that. Um, So of course the club, the bouncer guy, is not letting a bunch of military guys in, and Katie just goes right up to him and is like, "You fascist! You're a fascist with a velvet rope. These men served in combat, and you're not letting them in here." Blah blah blah. And like her boss is like, "Okay, chill, chill. He's not gonna let us in here now. So like, let's go."
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
so they go in and they go over to the bar, and there is a man in a white navy uniform asleep sitting up at the bar, and it is Robert Redford, aka Hubble, Hubble Gardner. And she's like, "Oh my God, Hubble!" And there's like a girl with him, but Bill takes her to dance,
Yeah.
gets her out of the way. Katie like looks at him and like kind of touches his hair, like moves it on his forehead, and then the music from the club fades. And then it cuts to a scene of him running outside in sweats, and The Way We Were starts playing, like the theme song. So it's now jumped back to when they were in college, which was like in the late 30s. And then we kind of get a sort of like almost montage of what they were up to in college. So he's running, he's rowing, she is handing out flyers against Franco's Spain. She's there's one that's like it was like a anti like it was something a peace rally, but she's like, no, this is a peace strike. So they're pasting over all the signs for the peace rally with strike. And then we see her, she works at like a little diner. He's there with a date. He appears to be some sort of like decathlete because he was like running and then he was like rowing and then we see he does
Javelin.
javelin, he does discus. I'm like, oh my God, he's doing everything. And then she's, in her little apartment typing her assignments under her portrait of Vladimir Lenin.
You didn't type under the portrait of Vladimir Lenin?
No, I typed under my poster of Freddie Mercury. I had Freddie Mercury and Peyton Manning up on my wall.
Oh, okay.
Slightly different.
Should I embarrass myself now? So my poster was, sorry, Farrah Fawcett.
Of course, in the like red bathing suit.
Sorry.
Classic. And then Hubble's playing football on the quad with all of his like waspy friends. And then they are doing like pranks. They put up there's a statue of a guy on the quad and they put like a fishing pole and a fish in his
A live
hand.
fish, yeah, in
Yeah.
his hand.
Eventually there's like the rally or whatever on the quad, and Katie's president of the Young Communist League, and she gets up to speak and people are heckling her, but everyone's there like watching her, including Hubble and his friends. And she advocates for communism, she advocates for world peace. She's like, the only people helping the Spanish people are the Soviets, like we're not doing anything, and like they're suffering, they're being killed, don't you like want to help them? And she's like, we shouldn't just like rally for peace, like we need to strike for peace, this is serious. And then um people behind her, there's like a series of signs, and then people turn them around and it says any peace, as in PEACE, but Katie's Piece, PIECE. and people laugh, and she doesn't realize what they're laughing at first because she can't see it. And then she turns around and then she calls them all fascists,
Hmm.
and is upset. She's like, "This is serious." And then later she's working, and she has a sort of like her comrade that works with her in the Young Communist League is this guy named Frankie, who is played by James Woods, which you would never recognize. I didn't recognize him. But yeah, small part for James Woods.
Well, he looks like
Um,
he weighs all of 90 pounds anyway. And
right.
and he's got, the little round glasses. He looks like the
Hmm.
very epitome of like the bookish, kind of, I guess we would call them nerds. I don't know, but I'm just saying. So,
Yeah. No, he
but,
does.
yeah, he's right there beside her the whole, during this whole time in college. So,
Yes. Yes. So, they're talking about the strike and stuff like that, and then Hubble comes in with his friends, again, his sort of like waspy friends, and she goes to take their order, and they're just like making fun of her with like communist jokes. They're like, "Ooh, I'll have like the whatever lemon milkshake or something."
yeah, it was like, like a very poor play on
Yeah,
words.
like instead of saying lemon, they said Lenin, like
Lennon,
something
yeah.
like that. Like it was
Yeah.
just they rattled off a few, and she's just like, anyways, and she just like walks away. And Hubble comes over and he's like, "We weren't laughing at you." And she's like, "Then what were you laughing at?" Because it seems like it was me. And he's like, "Come on, like politics are dumb. Like it's all a joke. We joke about politicians." And she's like, "Franco's a politician. Like Hitler's a politician. Like these things matter.
Hmm.
It's not a joke." He eventually is just like, "Okay, well," he just gives their order instead of like continuing to be obnoxious like his friends were. And but yeah, he makes fun of politics. She clearly takes it seriously. We see a very serious contrast kind of immediately. So,
It right down though where during the conversation where they were at the booth and stuff, she keeps looking over at him though, because and I
mhm.
said, well, it is Robert Redford, so
Yeah, I mean,
so
I would be
yeah,
looking at him too.
I was going to say, regardless, come on, hell, I'd probably be looking at him. So I'm just,
Simply a good-looking man. Just it's just the case, and I think that anyone, regardless of gender or sexuality, should be able to admit that. Like
exactly,
it's just a truth that exists, you know. We hold these truths to be self-evident that Robert Redford was a really handsome man.
regardless of age. So
Yes. Yes. Truly up
he
to the end.
he aged well. So
Indeed. Then we see later, Katie and Hubble are in like an English class together because she said she's like an English lit major, and they all had to write short stories. And the teacher says that he's going to read one that was really good, and you can tell Katie's been working on it because she was talking. That's what when she was at work, she was talking to her friend about it, like because he wants her to do stuff, and she's like, "No, I gotta like finish the story." And he's like, "Weren't you supposed to like? Why are you waiting like till right now?" And it's like, sir, have you ever heard of being in college? Who does things in advance in college? That's,
who does things in advance now?
I mean, yeah, but especially in college, like that's part of the college experience. You got to do something at the last minute.
That's right. You got to pull the
Um,
all nighter, right?
exactly. And not with Chat GPT, children, with your own brain powered by caffeine.
And maybe an encyclopedia or
Yeah.
or even a dictionary, God forbid.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, you got to use your own brain and ideas. None of this
Hmm.
Chat GPT nonsense.
That's right.
Anyways, she's hoping her story is going to be read. In fact, it is not. It is Hubble's story, which even the teacher is like, this might be surprising to you all, but
Right.
the best, I guess, because everyone's like, oh, this dumb jock wrote a good story. But he's not a dumb jock. Katie's like, I feel like Katie is like both kind of impressed because she wouldn't have thought he would write as well, but she's also like upset because she wanted her story to be good.
Yeah. And I think
Um,
Hubble looks embarrassed,
yes, to have
don't you?
his story read
Yeah,
to
that
everyone.
he was singled out.
Yeah.
I think that, yeah, he didn't. Maybe that wasn't his hope or intention. He just was doing his assignment. But we hear it. It is a good.
Yeah. And it has a good line that I think really sums up Hubble about um you say the line. What's the line? It's like everything came
Life,
easy to him.
everything came easy to him, like the land that he lived in.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that what it
Or like the
was.
country he grew up in, something
I'm
like
sorry,
that.
like the country. You're right. I'm sorry, the country he grew up in.
Then after class, she just like tears up her story and throws it away.
Poor
Um,
Katie.
I know, which is sad. Just keep it, work on it.
Yeah.
Um, and then later that night, she's walking home from working at the little diner and she sees Hubble like at a little table outside of like looks like a hotel bar kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
having a drink. They're on opposite sides of the street. He tells her, like, come have a drink. And she says, I don't drink. And he's like, well, come, like, talk to me.
Yeah.
And he says, why do you carry your books around all the time? And she's like, that's what I crossed the street for. And then he says that he's celebrating. She says, what are you celebrating? And he says, I got you to cross the street. And it's
Come
like,
on.
okay.
You got to admit that was pretty smooth.
It was smooth. It was smooth. He has his moments. You could see it. You
Uh-huh.
could see it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Um, and she does say that she liked his story. And he's truthfully celebrating because he sold a story, like to be published. And she's like, oh my God, like I don't know anyone who's done that. That's crazy.
Right.
And she does agree to have a drink with him. He just has like a bunch of like steins of beer, like big beers, and she
Yeah.
just takes one, I guess. Um, and they are talking, and he says that she should have laughed at the joke at the rally or at the strike about like Katie's
About the
piece.
signs. Yeah.
He's like, everyone would have been on your side then if you had just laughed. And she's like, but I didn't think it was funny. And he says she has no sense of humor. And she's like, well, maybe I don't hang out in like frat houses. I don't think that kind of stuff is funny. If that's the benchmark of humor, then like, okay, I guess I don't have a sense of humor.
But I do think he was right in a way because you could see people were starting to pay attention to what she was
Hmm.
saying until those idiots raised up those signs. And even, Hubble, was like starting to listen to what she said, not
Hmm.
just, it was registering, I thought, at
Yeah.
least. Uh,
Yeah. I think that there is a difference between taking an issue seriously and taking yourself seriously. And I support her in taking the issue seriously, but I think you get more people on your side by not taking yourself so seriously. I think that's
yeah.
where she has an issue.
And I think he had a point. Like he said, he goes, you had them and you could have kept them if you'd have laughed,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. And so, but you're right. But her feeling is that everything's, if the situation's serious or the issue is serious, then I should be serious. So,
Yeah, yeah. But I think, yeah, I do think she could have taken herself
mhm.
less seriously, and he could take issues more seriously.
Exactly. I was going, there is, could be a common ground, a middle ground
Yeah.
there.
And then they do a toast to their commencement, which she says, I like this line. She says, that's a funny word for the end. Because obviously to commence means to begin.
It's the end of
It's the
the,
end
the
of college. So, and then she's getting ready to leave and her shoe's untied. And he's like, bring your foot up here. He's sitting like on the edge of this little thing. And so basically he has her put her foot on his thigh, and he ties her shoe for her. And I'm like, oh, okay, that was cute. And then he says, go get him, Katie. And it's like, okay, this part I was like, all right, I'm 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 into it. Let's
uh,
go for Hubble.
yeah.
And then there's like a dance for their graduation. And Katie and her communist friend Frankie are working there, I guess. They're like working the
Yeah.
punch table that no one's
They said
coming
that,
to.
yeah, because he said they're like employees, so I don't know if
Yeah.
they're like, they're not
Because
on
she's like,
the,
let's dance. And he's like, but we're working. And she's like, who cares?
yeah. So
Because Hubble's there dancing with his like college girlfriend that he's always with, who we see again later. Her name's Carol Ann. But
Carol Ann, yeah, and they're all wearing tuxedos.
yes, yes.
Yes.
And he's always around his best friend JJ. So she Katie goes and dances with Frankie, and then eventually Hubble comes to dance with her, and they're just like, hugging all close. And then we cut back to the present, which is again, like 1944, 45, towards the end of the war. And she does manage to wake Hubble up. Again, he's asleep sitting up at the bar in his Navy uniform. And he's happy to see her. And she takes him home to her apartment. He's drunk. He's wasted. So, like, they all share a cab, her, Bill, the girl, Hubble. So her and Hubble get out of her apartment. They come up and like she's like trying to get everything all tidy and get all ready, and she puts the kettle on and da da da. And then my man is asleep, out. He took off his uniform and conked out in her bed.
Well, first he went to go to the bathroom to throw up because he was like
Oh yeah.
they had to go up all the stairs, and he was
Oh
like,
yeah.
and she
She said
goes,
it's on the top floor. She lives on a
yeah,
top floor walk up.
yeah, and yeah, and then she's like, she's making coffee or something, and she or putting
Yeah.
together, and she comes out, yeah, and there is like a trail of his uniform.
Mm-hmm. And he's asleep in her bed, shirtless. And she's like, "Oh." So
I,
she's in her nightgown and then she takes it off
I, I
to
was
get
gonna
in
say,
bed with him. I was like, "Oh."
Katie's like, talk about taking advantage. So
Mm-hmm. So she gets in bed and then the kettle goes. And actually, he wakes up. This happens before she strips down, but the kettle goes and he responds to it. He's been in the Navy, he's been on a ship in the South Pacific, so he's like
general quarters.
like he's responding to his commanding
Right,
officer.
right, like
He just shoots up and is like, General Quarters, sir, blah blah blah, sir. And then he's kind of like, oh, and like goes back to sleep. And then that's when she disrobes and gets in the bed with him with all of her makeup on. That's You're not supposed to do that, ladies, or people who wear makeup. Wash your
come on,
face.
she looks good. Just
She
saying.
does look great. Just
And
red lipstick, red nails,
her
killing it.
eyes, and then her
Hmm.
hair.
Yes, she looks great, but I'm just saying it's not good for your skin. But obviously that's not her priority at this moment. So then
Correct.
like he like gets up and like leans over to like kiss her, and then it's like, "Oh, what's happening here? What's that?" They're kissing, kind of cuddling, and then he falls asleep again, but like on top of her.
Yeah, but he's on top of her, and it's like
Yeah.
and although she is not protesting,
She certainly isn't. And
again,
again,
it's Robert Redford.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So then the morning comes. And she's up. She's made a whole spread of breakfast. She's ironing his uniform. And he comes out and he's like, "Oh, like you don't have to do that." And she's like, "Oh, I love ironing. Don't worry about it." And it's like, who loves ironing? But and then he asks if she has an aspirin because he's hungover. And she's like, "No, I don't." And he's like, "You don't have aspirin?" And she's like, "I usually eat after drinking." And she like gestures to the table that is covered in all different kinds of food. It's like she pulled out everything she had.
And he looks like he's getting ready to throw up again.
Yes, indeed. And he's like, "Thank you, but like no thank you." So he talks about like her hair looking different
And
because because at first it didn't seem like last time when he came home with her, it was like, did he actually recognize her? Or like was he just like, "Oh, hey."
uh-huh, yeah,
Being a friendly drunk.
uh-huh.
But now like he recognized her and he's like, "Oh, your hair looks different." And she says she had it ironed because she had like very curly hair when they were in college, and now it's straight. Like she has the ends bumped, but like it's her hair is straight. And she says she had it ironed, and he's like, "Does that hurt?"
I know. I love his reaction, don't you? It's like, does that hurt? It's like,
Yeah, because he's like fully imagining her like laying with her head on an ironing board.
I guess, like, yeah,
She's like, "No, it doesn't. It doesn't." So, um, she goes up to Harlem, I guess, to have people do it.
right.
Um, and then she wants him to stay, and she's like, at least have coffee. Come on. And he's like, no, I gotta go meet JJ at the train. And she's like, oh, you're still hanging out with JJ. And he's like, oh yeah. Where do you live? DC. And she's like, oh, that must be so exciting. And he's like, it's not that exciting. Like, why would you think it's exciting? And she's like, well, you're by Roosevelt. And he's like, oh, you like Roosevelt now?
Yeah, because
Because
before she didn't, because he wasn't doing anything about the Spanish Civil War. So
yes. And she's like, yeah, like he's done good things or whatever. She's warmed to him in the intervening years. She gives him her no. It's like this is the part that I start to cringe at because he's trying to leave, and she's like, "No, stay here. How about this? Oh, how about this? Oh, stay here." And then she gives him her number, and she's like, "Call me. I know that it's really hard to get a hotel." Like she wasn't like, "Just call me." She's like, "Well, it's really hard to get a hotel when you come to New York. So if you ever come to New York and you need a place to stay, you can come stay here. So just give me a call." And it's like, "Ah, you sound desperate, Katie.
I know. Yeah.
Simmer down." Have a drink because you are thirsty, girl.
And you can tell he's like kind of,
Okay, thank you.
yeah, yeah. I got to get going.
Yeah, it's like when someone's trying to like stop talking to you, and
right. Yeah.
he's
It's
that.
like the big brush off. So
Yes, it's cringy. It's cringy. But he gets away and he also doesn't seem he says like sorry about last night and she's like, "Oh, does he remember what happened?" And he's like, "I just keep falling asleep everywhere." So it's like, "Oh, he does not
no,
remember this at all. He doesn't remember
no.
the kissing. He just remembers falling asleep." Because he's like, "I fall asleep everywhere these days." So, moving forward, she's handing out she's still up to her old tricks. She's on the street handing out flyers for an American Soviet benefit. And then she has to go to work at the radio station. Or no, she has to go to work at CDHQ, whatever that is. Exit.
Civil
Okay.
defense headquarters. Yeah. So
Um,
I recognize it from the old civil defense station shelters they used to have back when I was a kid. That in
okay.
case the bomb fell, you
Oh, of
run to
course.
you go to your nearest civil defense shelter. So,
Oh, okay.
and they had those funny hats, that looked
Hmm.
like the old World War I, what they call tin pan hats. So,
Yes. Yes. Okay. So she has to go to work there. So she's leaving. And then I love that she passes a guy that's campaigning for Dewey on the way. And she's like, oh my God, like, we love Dewey. We got to get rid of Roosevelt. Give me some of these flyers and I'll give them out to my friends. And so she takes all the guy's flyers and then she throws them away.
I know she walks by a big trash can, or what, and then just dumps them. I love that.
That
So,
was very funny. And I was like, I want to do that. Let me write that down.
yeah,
Um,
exactly. Yeah.
Although people don't have like flyers as much anymore, but you never know.
Hats.
So then she goes to her job at CDHQ and she's talking to her. I love that she's like doing her like she's like an operator there. So she's like doing and it's like the old-timey operators where they had the little things they plug into different holes on this thing in front of them. And so she's like
Yeah,
CDHQ, please hold, CDHQ, please hold, and
the
moving it,
old
but while
switchboards.
also having a conversation with the person across from her, her friend, about how Hubble hasn't called her. I was like, this is a grade A multitasking here.
I Katie never slows down. Katie is nonstop,
Mm-mm.
like a dynamo.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's part of it too. Like, I think one of the themes is that like everything has been easy for Hubble and not for her. Cause like, if you think about it, she was working multiple jobs when they were in college. Cause she said something about working at like the print shop oh, cause she knew that Wallace Simpson had married the,
The king,
yeah,
Edward.
yes. And she told him that twice. Um, cause she was lost in his eyes. But she knew it because she works. He was like, "How do you know that the newspapers haven't printed it?" But she works at the print shop 2 nights a week. So it's like she has multiple jobs in college. And he was like, not to say he was like fully coasting. He had an athletic scholarship, but that's a lot easier than like trying to pay your way and work all
Right.
these jobs and still do your work. And like, it was a lot. So I think it just, that is one of the things that you notice if you watch. Like things did come a lot more easily to him than her, which makes sense why she maybe takes some of this stuff more seriously than he does. Because I think when things come easy, you don't have to take it that seriously.
Agreed.
But
Not that I
anyways,
ever had it easy, but I'm just saying, yeah, there was.
right, right, same. Um,
I
but
think that in
she
school didn't. I'm sorry. It
it
don't
school
we?
came easily to me.
But in school, I think we all knew somebody or some people that were like that. You know what I mean? It was like those were the people that, they breezed through school. They were good at athletics. They were, good looking, and it was always, think just life was just easier for them. They, maybe not in the terms of wealth or anything, but, they were,
Hmm.
people talked to them. They were always, always had friends around them and stuff like that. And just, so
Hmm.
at least I, in my high school, I still remember that. They weren't bad people. It's just that they had it, whatever it was, better looking or just more smooth and stuff. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think school was pretty easy for me, but maybe not everything. Um, then so she leaves CDHQ and then she goes to the radio job where a guy from the army is like, her boss is like, you've censored everything but like 9 pages of like an hour show. And the army guy is like, well, the army doesn't take kindly to it being basically in there. It was like army people saying that they like spit on Negroes using their language. And he's like, the army doesn't take kindly to that. It being suggested that we would spit on Negroes, and and Katie's like, well, they do.
yeah, it's like, well, then if you don't like it, then don't do it. If you don't like being called on it. So,
Yeah,
but they do that.
yeah. And meanwhile, they're like, and the army guys like, we don't want to interrupt morale at wartime, blah blah blah. And the boss is like, I just need to get a show on the air.
Yeah, I need to feel what, like 30 minutes of dead air, so
Yes,
and I've got like 20 minutes to do it. So
but more importantly, Hubble calls. And he's coming into town and he needs a place to stay. He wants to stay on her couch. And she's like, you don't have to stay on my couch. She doesn't say that, but you can tell in her head, she's like, couch? What are you talking about?
Please.
So she's like, oh, yeah, like, absolutely. I'll, like, have a key for you. I'll call the super and you come over. You're welcome anytime, blah, blah, blah. And she, like, rushes out and she goes to, like, she goes to the butcher and the grocer and, like, is buying all this stuff.
And uses up her little stamps, her coupons or whatever, her
Yes, her
her rations.
ration
Yeah.
books. And then he's like just gonna drop his stuff off and go. And she's like, no, 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 no. You absolutely have to stay for supper because I use all my ration coupons to buy a steak and all this stuff. Make a pie, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, what kind of pie? And it's like, all right, he's sold.
Yeah, because he's all set to get because he's walking away from her place.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, well, I didn't know what time you'd be home and stuff, and yada yada yada. But yeah, and again, it's kind of an easy line because then she smiles at him, and when he says, "What kind of pie?" But
Mm-hmm.
so it's like, oh, okay, you have pie,
You had me at pie.
exactly.
And then they, of course, get into some politics talk, but not too much. And then it's revealed that he wrote a book and she bought it. And he's like, oh, clearly not many people did because he's like, you have one of the 2 copies it sold. And she's like, I think it's really good. He's like, oh, you read it? And she's like, I read it twice. And she really liked it. She thinks he's a great writer. And then later they're like lounging by the fire and she's telling him like, okay, here's like she does offer some criticism. Like it seems like he asked her, you know,
Yeah,
did you really like it? And she's like, well, the only thing I didn't like about it was like this. And she gives him some feedback, which is again good feedback because she liked it and she likes him.
hmm
You know, you get this sense, right, that this sort of contrast that She is very passionate. She believes things very strongly. She stands up for what she believes in. And for him, things come easily to him, so he can just kind of like coast through. Like there's not a sense that he like has to fight for something.
Yeah.
Like that's not something he's familiar with.
And that also, I think I get the feeling too, he's so easygoing. It's like, things just don't ruffle him, so
Yeah.
much. He just sort of like goes with the flow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then as they're talking, they're all close, they're in front of the fire, it's all romantic, and he leans down and kisses her and says she's beautiful. And she says he's beautiful, and then, they're
And
from
they're both
here.
right.
They are correct. Correct on all accounts. And then we get a flash forward and clearly here like they start dating for real cuz we see them like they're going out for drinks. They're on a rowboat in Central Park. She is rowing, I want to point out. He
Uh,
is lounging. She is rowing. He might be asleep, who knows. But she's doing the work. And they like meet for dinner and then we see they are hanging out with his friends from college, which include JJ and Carol Ann. So Carol Ann, who was like with Hubble during college, is now like presumably married to JJ.
as yeah, I couldn't figure if they're married but they're together or some way,
Yeah.
somehow.
It seems
Yeah.
like at least later, by the time they're in
Yeah,
California, they're
right.
married.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
So, it's and they still like kind of joke at Katie's expense, like they all remember her and are still like
what
not very
JJ
nice.
goes, Katie, and she goes, "Do you
Hmm.
still stutter?"
Yes. So she's like,
Yeah,
don't
calls him
dish it
on
out
it.
if you can't take it.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, Buster.
Yeah. And he talks about wanting to, he has offers to sell his book, his first book to Hollywood, but she says he's too good for that place. Which is funny because I'm like, if it wasn't very popular, why does someone want to buy it? But I don't know.
I know. I thought the same thing. I thought, well, somebody must have been paying attention to it, because
Right. If they're gonna adapt it.
yeah, and
But
plus, I mean, it's not like I guess if you're a serious novelist and stuff, but nowadays we're so used to books being made into movies.
mm-hmm.
But even back, before then, Gone with the Wind, To Kill a
Mm-hmm.
Mockingbird, all, that was in the
Yeah.
'50s and stuff. But I mean,
The Wizard
a
of
lot of,
Oz.
yeah, so many big time, bestsellers were made in them. Wuthering Heights,
Yeah.
so, but stuff like that. So
Yeah.
David
But I guess
Copperfield,
for Katie, it's like a sellout kind of thing.
yeah.
It's like
So it's
he would be compromising his like artistic integrity by selling to Hollywood.
mm, while he's driving around in a sports car
Yeah,
with money just flowing. Just,
basically.
just saying. So,
Real struggle in that beach house in Malibu. But
hmm
he is also working on another book, which he gives Katie like the first 8 pages, and he's like, I want you to read it and don't say anything. But then once you've read it, if you don't like it, I want you to tell me you didn't like it. So he's like really trying to like be creative and do things. But
hmm
then he goes and talks to Carol Ann, his college girlfriend, and he's like, I have a chance to sell my book to Hollywood. And she's like, oh, I think that sounds wonderful. So like in contrast to Katie, who's like, no, you're too good for that. Like, nah. So it's like he wants validation. He's getting it from someone else if he can't get it from Katie, which I feel is perhaps not a good sign. Um,
Yeah.
we'll
I,
see.
I got the feeling that because didn't she ask him to stay for a drink and he said no. He said
Hmm.
said he was just out walking and he just you know I guess like you said he wanted somebody else's opinion and then someone he knew
Hmm.
but he kind of I also got the feeling that he kind of knew what the answer would be. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
He
He
would
just
be
wants
like,
someone to
oh
like tell him he's correct.
yeah, yeah, oh yeah, you should sell it for big bucks.
Yeah. 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 So, um, Then later he goes back to Katie's and she's has read his the chapters of his new book and she's like, "Oh my God, I love the way you write." So it's like he's getting very like you can just the contrast between these like two
Hmm.
women and like what he's looking for. And I think you maybe get the impression that like Carol Ann, it's like, oh well, this is obviously like a good like business opportunity. You can make a lot of money. Like this is the thing people want. And Katie's like really like, you're a good writer. I support your creativity and like your craft.
Hmm.
So it's
And you
it's
should,
definitely a different vibe.
yeah, you should continue with that. You should develop that, and
Hmm.
because you owe it to yourself and also to people who love writing, or love
Hmm.
good writing. So,
Yes. Yes, exactly. So it's like a very different kind of like response and validation he's getting from
hmm.
these two women. Later, FDR dies, and you see like Hubble shows up and like hugs her because Katie's very upset because she's like a big fan of him. Like she has a picture of him on her wall in her apartment.
Instead of Lennon.
Yeah, she's moved on. It just reminded me of like lots of people always had like JFK portraits or like Obama portraits. So yeah, she was like real busted up about him. And Hubble hugs her, and then later they're at again his friend's house, which is a place she clearly like doesn't want to be generally. Um, and they're making jokes about him dying, and they're making jokes about like Eleanor Roosevelt, and she's like, her husband just died. He is dead. And they're like, okay. And she's like, they're talking about her going down in a mine. And she's like, she went down there because he couldn't because he's in a wheelchair. And she's like, oh, you probably made jokes about that too, right? You made like cripple jokes. So she like has none of it. Again, she's not here for the jokes.
Right.
And she she feels like everything is a joke to them. And Hubble once again is kind of like, can you like take a joke though? And she's like, why are we joking about this? Like, this isn't funny. And she's like, I want to leave. And he's like, okay. And she's like, no, I mean, I want to leave with you. And he just kind of goes back and sits down. Like, it's like,
Yeah. Like,
if you
nope.
want to leave, you can go.
Hmm. Yeah,
But
because he seems like he's like kind of fed up, or
yeah,
he's
the vibe for me is like, stop embarrassing me in front of my friends, you
it,
know?
and the other thing is, I noticed throughout this, like, the this isn't the only time they get together with his friends, but you never see them go like, or I don't know if she doesn't have friends, you know what I mean? But there's no um get-togethers with anybody that that she's like, even because we don't see James Woods' character anymore.
Right. But she clearly has at least like comrades because it's like there was that lady she was handing out flyers with, and there was like the
Right.
other
Yeah, that's what I
operator
mean.
she was, and like she hangs
Yeah.
out with her boss,
Yeah.
Bill.
We never see Hubble like go out with them, or whatever. So,
Yeah, that's very true. I did think about that later in the movie, like when they moved to California. It's like, oh, they really just like
mhm.
do what he wants.
Well, yeah, I mean it's like they move in his circles, but not hers.
Yeah.
That's anyway. So just an observation.
Yeah. No, I agree. So presumably she leaves, and later he comes to visit her at the studio where she does the radio show, and she starts apologizing immediately. And once again, I was like, stop it. Stop
No,
apologizing.
and
Like,
it wasn't even just like I'm so sorry. It was like
no.
just one.
She was just like, it was like word vomit. Like, she's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I was a bad girl and I was just having a tantrum and I'm so sorry. It was like, it won't happen again. I just needed to get over it. But I was just very emotional in the moment. Blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm. And he even tells her, "Stop! Don't
Yeah.
apologize
Yeah.
for being you."
Hmm.
It's
And he says he doesn't, he basically, he's there to break up with her. He doesn't think that they'll make it. And
yeah.
she's like, I'm too easy for you, like everything is. And he's like, you easy? I think he says easy like the 100 Years War.
War. Yeah.
But I think what she means is that she will like bend over backwards for him,
Yeah,
which is
she
true.
always yeah, she always, she always I won't say caves in. I don't know if that's the right word I'm looking or the right phrase, but acquiesces to his,
Yes,
yeah. She sort of bends to his will, not, it's
exactly. But he points out it's like you're always ready to fight. And it's like, I admire that about you. And she's like, well, up to a point. And he's like, yeah, exactly. Like there is a point where you like take it too far.
right.
And she's like, it's because I don't fit in with your friends at Beekman Place. She's like, that's the college friends where they live. And he gives back her key and he leaves. And, she's very sad.
Hmm.
You can see as she's like going about things. And he seems kind of sad too. He's just hanging out at
Yeah,
JJ's, drinking, looking kind of sad. And she calls him and asks him to come over. She's just like, I'm very upset. I'm having trouble sleeping. Like, can you just come over and like help me? And JJ is there, like listening to him. He's like, there's sleeping pills like in the bathroom. So he does go. He brings her sleeping pills, and he certainly seems like reluctant.
yeah, he does. You can tell he doesn't want to be there, but
Yeah,
but he does show up. I mean, I
he
know
does.
it's not a great, maybe not a great give on his part, but it is something. So
Hmm.
and I just thought of something that also she said when she was talking to him on the phone. She goes, "I'm not asking you to come back to me or anything." She goes, "But." She goes, "This is a situation where I need to talk to my best friend." And she goes, "And you are my best friend."
Yes.
And
Yes.
then I just thought of that, maybe she doesn't have any real close friends. Maybe Hubble
Hmm.
is, the closest friend in addition to a lover, or
Yeah, that's
so
true. That's
anyway.
true. She she asks him to stay until she falls asleep, and she asks if he finds her attractive. And, she's like, maybe I'm attractive, but not in the right way. And he's like, you are like attractive in a different way.
Hmm.
And she says that she'll change to have him. And he's like, that's kind of the issue that you'd like push too hard, too serious. And she's like, I push because I want things to be better. I want us to be better. I want you to be better. Like I want you to be the best that you can be because like I think you're great. And, she wants him back and he says, if I come back, then what will be different?
Yeah.
But presumably he comes back because we cut to they are sailing in California on the coast. They have a house in Malibu on the beach. They're married. You can tell 'cause she has a ring on. And I really love her look. She's like putting up books and stuff, and she's in like an all denim outfit. She's got her hair up. It's very cute.
And Hubble's sitting on his ass while she's like putting books up on the
Yes.
bookshelf. He's just like he's reading Collier magazine, which
Yeah. And then he pulls her down to like kiss her or whatever. But yeah.
yeah. So yeah, he's just like sitting around like I guess like probably like I do with Denise. I just let Denise do all the work, and I just look around. Although I don't look like Robert Redford, so just saying.
Mm.
So
He is adapting his book into a movie, as he discussed previously. So she didn't want him to do that, but he's doing it. And she didn't want to be in California, but she moved. And it seems like he has told her, this will be temporary, and then we will go to France so I can finish my next novel. So she's
yeah,
like,
it's
okay,
only going to be till this is done, and then then we'll do what you want me to do.
yes. So she's like, okay, great. She's practicing her French. She's good to go. They go to the director's house. The director, George Bissinger, he has this huge house with like, they're playing croquet, there's tennis courts, they're gonna go play tennis. Robert Redford's in his like white tennis sweater. And then the people are talking about like the Red Scare, right? The House Un-American Activities Committee is happening now, and they're investigating people in Hollywood in the arts, and they're like, oh, it's gonna come for us all. And one of the guys there is like, we could write to our congressman, but he's on the committee.
Yeah. And there's a couple of people that are, well, one is a foreign lady,
Yes,
who,
Paula Reisner, who's like also like a producer, I guess.
I guess, yeah,
And then there's Rhea Edwards, who is the agent. Um, they're ones that we see like over and
yeah.
over throughout. And then JJ is there because he's also producing the movie. And it's
And that's
like,
good. And
can you
so
guys?
how does JJ, I mean, we knew Hubble could write, but what the hell does JJ know about making movies and why is he a producer all of a sudden?
He
So
probably just has money.
that's what I was thinking. So, it's like it's like, wait a minute, or did Hubble get him a job as the producer because it's Hubble's book? I don't know,
Right. I don't
but
know. Yeah. Maybe that was part of like the deal.
maybe, yeah. Well, if you
So,
want my book, you got to take my sponge friend over here, and
yeah,
give him something to do.
exactly. Carol Ann is there also because she's with JJ and she's throwing a party for JJ's birthday. It's a Marx themed party. And they make a joke that Katie can come as Carl, even though it's like the Marx brothers. Um, but
Actually, I kind of thought that was funny.
that was a good joke, and she should have laughed at that. That
She
was a
should
good
have
joke.
laughed,
Some of
right?
their jokes
Yeah,
are not funny. That one's a good one.
yeah.
And then Hubble tells her to be whichever one doesn't talk.
Oh yeah, Harpo.
Mhm.
yeah, you can be Harpo, the one that doesn't the one that doesn't speak.
Yeah. And then they go to the party, and she is that one because she just has like a little thing. She keeps pressing it to like make squeak noises. Every other person is Groucho Marx. The amount of Groucho Marx is there. I don't know that much about the Marx Brothers, but I was like, oh, I could recognize the eyebrows and like
Hmm.
the mustache and the
The
glasses. Everybody's
mustache, yeah, and then the
everybody's
cigar. He
got
always had
them.
a
Yeah, and
cigar.
the cigar. Everybody.
Yep,
Like 75% of the people there are
I
dressed
know.
as him. Even the
You know,
women. Even the women, to be
eh, eh,
clear.
with like
Like
pasted on
tape.
eyebrows,
Yeah.
yeah, with black tape. So yeah,
And the
yeah.
director's there and
Poor
Katie if
Chico was left out of all the Marx Brothers.
yeah.
So
I wish that she had gone as Carl. I would if I were her I would have gone as Carl.
exactly, yeah.
That would
Which
be
Marx
so
brother are you?
funny.
I'm Carl.
Carl.
Yeah,
Their
the
German
black
brother
sheep of the
Carl.
family.
I love that she's arguing with the director. Katie is there. The director's talking about the changes that need to be made to Hubble's script, and she's like, "No, no, 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 no. You don't
Yeah.
get it." And he's like, "Shh, stop
Quiet.
talking. You're gonna get me fired." So yeah, that's the party. Later at the house, she's learning French so they can prepare to go to France. And then she starts telling him a story. And she's like, oh, there's this like Jewish girl and she married this guy and they moved to California. And then she found out she was pregnant. And it's like, it's clearly she's telling him that she's pregnant. And it takes him a minute to be like, wait, really? Are you
Yeah.
serious?
Are you serious? Because that does stop him in his tracks. So
Mm-hmm.
good reaction scene too, don't you think? I
Yeah.
mean, it's like, you know,
It takes him a second, but he gets there. And he seems happy. He's like,
I know he's like, because he touches her, like her stomach,
yes, yes. So he's like, oh my God, for real?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, yep, yep. Then yeah, we see like just some more scenes. They're playing beach volleyball with all these people that they hang out with and seem to be having fun. Okay, playing in jeans, which doesn't seem practical. Shirtless in jeans, but Robert Redford does look good. Can't argue with that. Um,
Shades of Top Gun. Now you know where Top
Indeed,
Gun got the idea.
yes.
So just saying,
Oh my God, imagine if it just the movie just cut in a danger zone. Just like
well,
fully changed the mood.
Hubble was in the Navy.
True, true, true.
I'm smelling plagiarism.
Mhm. But Katie's playing too in a very cool jumpsuit, gotta say. This is where I just started writing down, I like this outfit. I like this outfit. We learn more again, like the House Un-American. She's like listening, I think, to the radio
Yeah,
about the
the
activities of the House
the the
Un-American Activities Committee. So they're basically hauling in people, including from Hollywood, to make them name names of people who could be communists. And those people would be blacklisted and no one could work with them and they would kind of lose everything. And, they're being investigated. They're all this stuff. Their lives are ruined.
Which, by the way, people did really happen.
Yes,
So,
this really happened. So there are real
yes.
people that there are people that went that were like famous writers and directors and actors were hauled in front of this committee.
And some gave it up and some didn't. So,
Exactly. Yeah.
a very
Gross.
scary time.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to read this. In 1947, the committee held 9 days of hearings into alleged communist propaganda and influence in the Hollywood motion picture industry. After there were 10 people known as the Hollywood 10. After conviction on contempt of Congress charges for refusal to answer some questions, the Hollywood 10 were blacklisted by the industry. Eventually, more than 300 artists, and this includes directors, radio commentators, actors, but mostly screenwriters, were boycotted by the studios. Some of them left the US or went underground to find work. This includes Charlie Chaplin, Orson Welles, Paul Robeson. Some people like Dalton Trumbo, a
Trumbo.
famous writer, wrote under pseudonyms. And these are people that wrote some of like the biggest movies that ever existed, right? Like who Charlie Chaplin and Orson Welles are. Dalton Trumbo wrote Roman Holiday. He wrote Spartacus. He wrote Exodus. And these are people that were refused to, and then very few of them were able to get back
Yeah.
into a career. And then some people gave up names. The one I always think of is Elia Kazan
Hmm.
gave up names. So some people still kind of never forgave him for that, which, fine. So anyways, they're having like a little thing at their house and Hubble's agent, Rhea, tells Katie that he has an offer to stay on and do more movies if this one does well. And Katie's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, is he going to take it?" And his agent's like, "I sure hope so. Like it'll be a lot of money for you guys." And
Yeah.
Katie's
And
like,
you'll live in style. And I like Katie's answer. She goes, I thought we already did.
"Yeah." She's not thrilled, right?
No, no, you can
That was
tell that
not the
this is,
plan. She wants to live in style in France.
and let Hubble
France.
write his book. And so she's like,
Yes.
yeah,
Do art, do real art. None of this silly Hollywood stuff. So then they go to the director's house again to for a private screening of one of his movies. And it starts with it seems like Katie and Hubble are doing well because they're dancing in the hallway by themselves. Another great jumpsuit, by the way. Light purple, halter,
hmm,
gorgeous. Oh, before that, they're walking on the beach. I like this scene. They're walking on the beach. They're talking about baby names because she's like, "Oh, my dad wrote to me and he gave me a list of names for his grandson." And it was Eugene V. Debs Gardner. It was just a bunch of Solomon David Gardner. And there was another, was it Franklin Roosevelt Gardner? Like something like
Franklin
that.
Roosevelt Gardner. Yeah, so
So it was very clear where he's at. So it's Judaism and communism is where
right,
he's
right.
at. Judaism and left politics. And they're like, "What about a girl?" And she's like, "Well, the only name is my mother's name, which is Rachel, like Hebrew."
Didn't he
Um,
say, he goes, let's pray for a boy?
yeah. So at the party, they're getting ready to watch this film that the director is screening for them, which is one where the Indians are heroes, and they're like, "Oh, are you allowed to do that?" And as he's trying to get his
the
projector to come
yeah,
up,
the
he has
movie
a
screen.
yeah, he moves a painting and something cuts the painting down the middle, and it realizes it's a bug. Someone has
Yeah, it's
planted a bug in his house to listen, like a listening device. When I say
yeah.
bug, that's what I mean. Not
It's
not
a
a
it's a
not
it's
a
a little
beetle.
it's like a microphone with a
Yeah.
wire, and then yeah, it's slit the painting,
Yeah.
as the painting was being moved to make room for the
Mhm.
movie screen.
So they're all just like, "Oh my God, like
Yeah,
you're going to be investigated, you're going to be called in." And of course, Katie is immediately like, "We cannot stand for this. This is a violation of your rights."
call your
Like,
lawyer.
do you have a lawyer, George? And
Yeah,
Hubble, they all get up and leave the room, and they're like, "What if there's a microphone in this room?" Hubble has not moved. He's still on the couch, like not interested in getting involved.
It's like whatever.
It's like that's crazy to me. If someone was like, if we're living in the Red Scare and I found a bug in a house that I'm hanging out in semi-regularly, I would feel a way about it. And you're in an industry that is like being actively like pursued and investigated.
Right. I was going to say
Writers especially,
being persecuted.
but
Yeah.
he does not care. But I guess he's like, it isn't gonna be me, so like,
Yeah.
whatever.
Right. Probably in Hubble's opinion, it's like he knows, well, I'm not a communist, but
Yeah.
not knowing, I hate to say, but his wife was.
Right.
And for all we know, maybe still is, but she
Yeah.
was, a card carrying member, as they used to say,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
I joke with Lindsay about, that it was, and if you listen to transcripts or old videos of the McCarthy hearings, it was always, are you now or have you ever been a member of the Communist Party? That was like the rhetoric, it was like, that was the first thing that they asked people.
Mm-hmm.
And then oh, well, no, I never have. Well, we have where you signed this pledge back in 19, 32 to donate $1 to the, Human League Rights or whatever, which was a known communist affiliation. So
Mm-hmm.
it was just whatever, they were just hounding people. So anyway,
Eventually we learn, Hubble's still trying to make changes to his script, but he doesn't want to make changes to his script. And so he's telling JJ, like, could you tell the director I'm not changing this? Like, could you talk to him? But JJ's concern is like, do you know that they're like having meetings at your house? And he's like, what?
yeah,
She's like, wow, really tuned in to your home life, I guess. Yeah, like Katie's leading meetings and they're all going to go to DC and Katie's going with them. Yeah, they plan to challenge the House Un-American Activities Committee based on the First Amendment, which seems very reasonable. And Hubble's not really too worried, but JJ is. He's like, you need to tell Katie to stay out of it because this is going to blow back on us. And Hubble's mostly worried again about like he's like, but yeah, could you tell the director to stop trying to change my script? Like, anyways, whatever, but my script.
yeah. I do like that. He tells JJ. JJ says, "Tell Katie she can't go," and he goes, "You tell Katie she can't go."
Yeah,
And
good
he
luck.
goes, "Yeah," and he goes, "I'd buy a ticket to see that."
Yeah.
So,
And you can see they're talking and Hubble's like, this is really our first job. And JJ's like, no, we had a job. We were in the military. And he's like, it's not really a job. He's like, we got
yeah,
paid for it. And he's like, couldn't having an athletic scholarship count as a job? And Hubble's like, no.
no, doesn't count.
Yeah,
So
this is really our first job that we like had to get a job and like we could be fired from. Like,
right,
and then he offers JJ a drink, and JJ says he's not gonna have a drink because there's trouble at home. So he's trying to like
with
keep
Carol Ann.
yeah, he's trying to keep himself together, mind his P's and
Yeah,
Q's, stay on his
yeah,
toes. Hubble goes home and he talks to Katie about her plans to go to DC. And he's like, "You're gonna bring the baby?" And she's like, "Yeah, I think I'm gonna bring the baby." She's pregnant. She's still
yeah,
actively pregnant, to be clear.
yeah, yeah.
There's not like a separate human baby.
No,
She
no,
wherever she goes, she's bringing the baby. Because I think that was his way of being like, "You sure you want to do this?" And she's like,
right,
"Yep,
yeah, yep,
yep."
yep.
She
Should
says,
we
"I want
also
to bring
mention?
her," and he's like,
Yeah,
"Her?" And she's like, "Or
her.
him."
I think we should, is at this point. I think I wrote down also Katie's smoking.
Yes, she smokes and drinks,
Right. All the while she's pregnant.
pregnant, and he says, "We're back to where we started."
I wrote that
Her
down.
as the activist and him not having it. And she
Not,
says, that's not true,
yeah.
but it is. And he's like, I want you to stay home. And she says, I can't. She goes to Washington. And meanwhile, Hubble's hanging out with JJ and Carol Ann, and they're watching old films from their college days, like of them. And one of
Yeah.
them is of Katie
At the
talking
rally.
at that rally, yeah. And JJ actually seems like he's like, wow, isn't Katie like really something? Like she looks beautiful. Like JJ's actually being like really kind about her now.
I know,
I guess
and
she's
he's like
grown on him.
he says she's really got them. You know, he says, you
Hmm.
know, he goes, look at them. He goes, they're really into her. You know, or they're
Hmm.
they're listening. So
Yeah. Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. And Hubble just kind of smiles at her, at the image of her. But then like his smile kind of goes away. Uh, so then she returns. And it's interesting because she had gone with like George and like his wife and Paula Reisner, like these other people involved in the movie. So it seemed like they were all on the same team, but it seems like George gave names. Like he was
I
like, I'm trying to not.
right, and he was like, yeah, I'm not gonna watch. I'm not gonna self destruct. I'm not gonna.
Hmm.
Yeah, I got that impression too. So
Yeah. But Paula and Katie are more on the same
oh
page.
yeah, and I get Paul. I think Paula is from Russia
Yeah. Or
or maybe somewhere in
Germany.
Germany, maybe, and then because
I thought
she's
so.
like, no, we can't live under this oppression. You know,
Yeah.
this
She's
is
like, been there,
wrong.
done that.
Or, right? Yeah,
Not
got the
again, thank
T-shirt.
you.
So
Yeah. So, but they come back and there's all these people protesting them that are, if you don't like this country, then get out, like that kind of stuff.
you know,
Commies go home or
commies
whatever.
go home. You know, better dead than red.
Hmm. And it's a lot of hostility, and they're going through, and Hubble's there to pick her up and like walk her out through this hostile crowd. And eventually, someone calls her a communist bitch. So Hubble punches that guy. But then a bunch of people grab him and start beating him up. So they have to kind of duck away and like hide in this room.
Mm-hmm.
And I think once again he's like, why you gotta do this? And she's like, I want to fight for free speech. Like this is a problem. And he's like, there's no such thing. Who cares? There's no such thing as free speech. Like people will give up a name and then eventually they don't care if someone's a communist. Like in a few years, if a director needs that writer to help or that producer that they said was a communist to help their movie be better, they're going to hire them and everyone's going to forget about it and no one's going to care. And he's like, he says, people are more important than causes and principles. And she says, but people are their principles. That's what makes a person who they are. And clearly they're just like very at odds
Yeah,
here.
they're
Like,
just it's fire and water.
yeah, I think his thing is like, don't rock the boat. Let's just like get through this. We'll like keep our heads down. We'll get through this and
Right.
everything will be fine. And she's like, no, this is like an affront to my values, the values of this country professes to have. So like we have to do something about it. This is a
Right.
problem.
If we don't speak up, who will?
Right. And he's kind of like, someone else. Who cares?
Yeah,
Like it's not our problem.
yeah, as long as it's not us, you know,
Yeah.
let it be somebody else. But
Yeah.
you know,
He's like George. He's like, listen, if I can just
yeah,
I'm just trying to look out for number one kind of
well,
thing.
that's
Like
right.
I'm
I'm
trying to
just
keep
trying to,
my stuff together and we'll get through this and it'll be over at some point and everything will be fine. And she's like, no, this is not okay. Um, and she talks to Paula about it. She's like gone to Paula's to talk. She's like,
yeah.
I don't know like what the deal is. You know, he like is great and all of a sudden Paula's like, well,
Well, I like what Paula kind of says to her. She goes, "Well, which one's more important to you?"
mm-hmm,
And she goes, "Well, he is." And she goes, "You've made your choice."
mm-hmm. And
Paula seems sympathetic, but she knows, you know, like you can't have both. You know,
yeah.
Paula's thing is, you know, you gotta choose. So
Mm-hmm.
which one is, you know, which one means more to you? So
Mm-hmm. Then Hubble is meeting with George, the director, and JJ. And George is like, we don't need you to adapt your novel. Like, we'll hire someone else to do it. And Hubble's like, no, no, no. Like, I can do it. I will make whatever changes you want. Like, I can fix it. You need me because I no one else like knows this story like for
Right.
real, like what it's trying to say, like I do. And he'll make whatever changes he wants. And then as Hubble is leaving, Carol Ann is outside and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna pack up the last of my things."
So I guess she's leaving.
Yeah. Why don't you come over and you can have some champagne as a bon voyage? And the implication is he went and they had quite a
and
bon voyage.
and had more than just some champagne,
Indeed.
evidently.
So then all of them, George, JJ, Paula, Katie, Hubble, the agent, like all these people get together and screen like the current cut of the movie. And it does not seem very good based on everyone's reaction. And everybody leaves. They're all just like, let's get out of here. I think the director's like, we'll do a post-mortem in the morning. Like, I don't want to
Yeah.
deal with this. And I think Paula says something. I forget what she says, but she's kind of like, ooh. They're like, you don't like anything. And she's like, I definitely don't like that.
Yeah, even Hubble says he goes, I don't think she's liked the movie since the Potemkin. So,
Yes. Um, and and oh, and he says she's probably a dyke anyway.
oh yeah,
And Katie's like, she has two grandchildren.
yeah, Katie defends her. So
Yeah. And I think that kind of starts a little
it
thing. He's like,
starts
oh, you
the,
always got to fight with me. You always got
uh-huh,
something.
here
Um,
we go again.
and then, they're talking and talking, and she, he's like, did you like it? And she's like, yeah, yeah, I like it. It was a
She
lie.
didn't. She
No, she
didn't
didn't.
like
And he says something about, like, are you still like this nice Jewish girl that I
Or
met
he says,
before?
until the day you die, you'll always be a nice Jewish girl.
Yes, yes. Once again, she's wearing a very cool outfit, like a two-piece set, I gotta say. Very cool outfit. I was like, I wonder if I could make something like that because it's like
Well,
linen-y. Maybe I could make something like that.
yeah, yeah.
But anyways, and then she says, "Are you still a nice Gentile boy?" And he says, "I never was." And he basically says to her, "You idealize everyone you love. Me? You did it to me. You did it to Roosevelt, for goodness
Roosevelt.
sake." And she says something. I forget like the exact lines, but she says something that she's like, "Well, anyways." She's like, "I don't idealize you anymore."
Right. Yeah, I think yes, because
And he's like, "Oh, she knows that he has cheated on her."
yeah,
And he's
because he
like,
says,
"Who
who told you?
told you?" And she says, a friend. Then she says, "I didn't like the movie, but I appreciated it." And then she's like, "Why of all people did you have to go with her?" Because it takes
Yeah.
her right back to Beekman Street and feeling like
Uh-huh.
she didn't fit in.
She didn't measure up, right?
Hmm. And she's like, "I wish that you would tell me like what's wrong with me, like that you have to go with her." And he says, "Our problems have nothing to do with another girl." And she hates LA. She hates everything about it. She hates being there. She hates the palm trees. She hates the sun. She hates all of it. And she just wants them to love each other. And she kind of like leans in and hugs him. And then we see her sitting on their balcony drinking and smoking because she was smoking in that screening. She's
Uh-huh.
smoking and drinking sitting on their balcony. And JJ and Hubble are out on the sailboat again. And they're talking about like the best years of their lives.
Yeah, I like that they did like best year or best day or like just all kinds of things. So,
Hmm.
like best of whatever. So
Yeah. Yeah. And then I thought this was interesting. JJ is kind of like, they're drinking now because he can drink because Carol Ann's gone. He's like, that's not a real loss. It's,
about Carol
whatever.
Ann.
Yeah, about
Yeah.
Carol Ann. And he's like, but if you lost Katie, that would be a real loss because she's somebody.
So JJ's a fan now,
Yeah, it's
and
interesting because it seemed like he was not a
in
fan of her.
college, yeah, he made fun of her and stuff, but and I wonder if it's because he saw then what she was compared to Carol Ann. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah.
you know,
And that she was like very steadfast for Hubble and
oh,
like always
she
there
was
for him.
fiercely devoted to Hubble.
Yeah.
It's like to a fault.
Yeah. And but she is still like smart and informed with her own opinions and stuff like that, which maybe
And still
Carol
is her
Ann.
right. Still is her own person. Still believes has her beliefs. It's not like she's tabled all that. She just
Mhm. And then Hubble and Katie are in their house and they have kind of their final like this is over conversation. Like she's like, "You never planned to finish your novel in France, did you?" And he's like, "No, I didn't."
no. And you never wanted to go to France.
Yeah. No. No. That was kind of the carrot to get her to come to California when she
Uh
didn't
huh.
want to. And she's like, I wish that we could just be old and we would be past all this and things would be like easy and uncomplicated. And he's like, things with us are never easy and uncomplicated. And
Yeah.
she's like, yeah, well, true. But they were better before.
Yeah.
And he agrees to that. He agrees. She's basically like, will you just stay with me until the baby is born?
Yeah.
And
Uh,
then this is kind of where I think the like things feel a little jumpy, which I think this is some of the complaints that like critics had, like Pauline Kael and some of the big critics. Um, that it just cuts to them in the hospital. She's had the baby.
right.
And these were the days when the baby's in a nursery where people could steal them. And she's like, "Oh, did you go see her?" And he's like, "Yeah, she's really small."
Yeah. Instead of saying beautiful.
Yeah. I thought she was gonna say beautiful. I thought it was gonna be like really nice. He's like, well, she's like, well, I want to call her Rachel. And he's like, okay. I put the crib together. And it's
Yeah, it's
like,
like, yeah, okay, yeah,
okay.
yeah, we'll just let's just grin and bear it,
Yeah.
or
And then she just kind of, you can see her tearing up in the hospital bed.
yeah.
And then the song plays again.
She's a good crier, by the way,
She is. She
because
is.
throughout the movie, there's times, and I don't mean like she's not it's just small
Just
tears.
welling up. Yeah,
Yeah,
just
exactly.
tears.
Yeah, yeah. As wonderful a singer as she is, I think she's just as good, if not better, as an actor. So just,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but anyway, but yeah, you
So,
can see and it's affected her more, I think, than it
mm-hmm.
does him, don't you?
Yeah, yeah. Because I think it's like she really doesn't want to break up, but he's like over it, I
Hmm.
think.
He just can't. He just doesn't. I won't say can't, but he won't deal with it anymore. He won't.
Yeah.
He just won't. Whatever it is, I don't know if it's that.
Well, I think my read of it is he's used to things being easy. And this relationship, I think, could be good, but that's not easy.
They're
And it's not,
they're never easy.
yes, exactly. Like
They're
it
never easy.
requires, like, people say love is a verb. Like, it's not
It,
just like, okay, we're together, everything's fine. It's like, no, we have to like we have conflicts and we have to work through them and we have to like talk and listen and communicate. And that's not easy. We have to be vulnerable. We have to
I
like
wrote.
admit that we're wrong. And that's
Well,
not easy. And
it.
he is used to things coming easily.
I.
And I think
I
that's why he's not willing to put in the effort.
agreed. I wrote down. I said this is really what marriage is like. That marriage
Hmm.
is not easy. It's making hard decisions sometimes, and
Hmm.
or being disagreeable, or whatever it may be. But you can, and you can get through that if
Yes, yes.
if you're willing to work at it.
Yeah. And it seems like he really just doesn't like take her concerns that seriously. Like
Right.
the causes and things that matter to her, it's like he appreciates like her passion, but it's like he doesn't actually care. He
Right.
doesn't share it.
Yeah,
So
to
it's
him
easy
it's
for him
like
to be like, "Oh my God, like it's not a big deal. Chill out." And she's like, "What are you talking about? Like it's a huge
right.
deal.
Yeah, of course
People
it
are
is.
dying. Like people's
Well,
like lives are being ruined."
and we're not talking like, she's not like worried about, saving the centipedes or something like that. You know what
Right.
I mean? It's
She's
not
worried
like
about a very major like national issue
yeah,
that lots of
anyway,
people are worried about.
yeah, like the world.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just like, he's just like a waspy rich guy, so he's like, who cares?
Hey,
I'm good.
I'm making money and I'm good at
I'm
it,
on my sailboat, girl.
Yeah,
What are you
yeah,
talking about?
exactly. So I did admire that him and JJ had a big tub of ice with bottles of beer in it, while they were out
Hmm.
sailing. There's not an accident waiting to happen.
Right.
Two drunk guys, on a sailboat in the middle of the ocean. Just saying.
Right. Listen, when I watch Below Deck, which is a show about like yachting, they won't let you on the jet ski if you had two drinks. Like,
And him and JJ are just, boozing it up with these beers,
hmm.
They eventually take their toll, people. Come on, After 6 or 7, you start to feel them.
Yeah. So after their moment in the hospital, the song plays again, and we jump forward in time, an unclear amount. It's like it's at least a couple of years at least, because
Yeah.
they're back in New York, and she's at like a stop the bomb rally in front of the Plaza Hotel, and she's standing there, and she sees him get out of a cab at the Plaza with a little blonde woman, and she goes to hug him and like introduces herself to the woman, and she's back to curly hair. He's like, "Oh, you stopped
And
ironing
it's
your hair?"
shorter.
Yeah,
It looks fabulous.
it does look really good. He's like, "Oh, you stopped ironing your hair. It looks really pretty." Also, it's she's remarried, we learn. He's like,
Yeah.
"How's your husband?" No, he's good. He's in New York. Hubble's in New York because he's written a TV show, and he's like, "Oh my God, it's so much work. It's like they film all this stuff live, and like you gotta like it just keeps going." And I wrote here, do they not still talk? They have a kid,
I
and apparently not.
I guess not. I guess they haven't spoken in however long it's taken between the time that that they split up after she had the baby and now. So at least
Hmm.
that's the impression I got.
Yeah. So she goes back to her table where, they're doing the ban the bomb rally, and he goes over there and he's like, "You never give up, do you?" And she says, "Only when I'm absolutely forced to, but I'm a really good loser." So she's talking about him, everybody, in case you didn't get that. And
But
he says he's not a good loser.
yeah, he says, "Well, you're better at it than I am."
Hmm.
So, and also Lindsay and I spoke about this a little bit. I think we both thought that the woman he was with was
We thought it
Carol
was
Ann,
Carol Ann at first, but she's
but
not. It's just
it's
a woman
not
that looks just like her,
just like her Carol Ann.
perhaps a
So
little younger.
I was, yeah, but blonde,
Hmm.
and
She's got a little
very
hat with a
little
little cage
little
veil.
yeah. So I mean, but yeah, I honestly I really did. I thought it was Carol Ann at first, but until they zoomed in on her. So
Yeah. So, and then she says to him, "Your girl is lovely, Hubble. Why don't you bring her by for a drink?" And he says, "I can't." And she says, "I know." And then she like reaches up again and like fixes his hair on his forehead. I will
yeah,
say
sort of
I like
brush.
he's got a very nice trench on with the collar popped. Very
Hmm.
nice.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um,
Burberry's, just
of
saying.
course. Yeah, yeah, yeah. She fixes his hair and he like holds her hand and then they hug and it's like it's a very meaningful moment.
And again, she wells up a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's and she every time I won't say every time they hug, but this is recurring throughout the movie where you can just tell she's still so in love with him.
Yeah. She's really like breathing it in. Like
And,
you really hug somebody and you're kind of like breathe them in a little bit. Like she's
yes.
doing
Oh,
that.
I like the way you described that. I
Do you
never
know what I
thought.
mean
Yeah,
though? Like that's like
yeah,
when you
yeah,
like really
exactly.
hug
You
somebody, you
just
like
can't
take a breath with them.
yeah, and you can't get enough of them. You can't
Hmm.
you want to yeah feel them.
Hmm. Hmm. And he finally asks about their kid. He asks
Rachel.
about Rachel, and Katie says she's just beautiful. You'd be so proud. And he says, "Is your husband a good father?"
Mhm.
And she says, "Yes, he is." So it's like, oh, he's just like, "Here you go. You can have my kid." It's
Yeah,
great.
it's like, oh, well, I'll just turn them over to you. But, hopefully he would think, that Katie wouldn't marry someone that would be, a bad father. So,
Yeah, yeah. And I
and
get,
maybe
they're
that's
on
why
opposite
Katie married
coasts.
him, is that he was a good father, not necessarily a good husband.
Yeah, yeah.
But she says, yeah, he's
hmm
good. So
hmm She married someone Jewish, I think, because she said to look us up in the phone book. He's the only something something Cohen.
Cohen, yeah, ex
Yeah.
Cohen or something like that
Yes.
for,
Something ex Cohen. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, and Hubble takes one of her flyers and they sort of just look at each other and then he says, "See you, Katie," and goes back across the street to the plaza. And that's the end of The
And
Way
then
We
we
Were.
hear the song,
The song
it's,
again. The way we were.
it's I gotta admit, this still movie still gets to me at the end,
Yeah.
because it, it it's not a great love story, but it could have been a great love story. And I
Mm-hmm.
just, it's just one of those things where you see two people, and like you said, at first you're hoping for them, but you realize it's and basically it's his fault. That
Yes.
that it's not it,
Yes.
but that it's not going to work, because Hubble's not willing to put in the work. So
Yeah. And I just wanted Katie. I was like, Katie, you
I,
deserve more than this.
well, exactly. Like, and I love the speech where she talks about that. Like, she says, "I want everything to be better. I want us to be better. I want you to be better." And she goes, "You're never going to find anybody who loves you more than I do, or who roots for you more than I do." And then she is like so, dedicated to him, and you just want to sit there and go, "Hubble, idiot, wake up, wake up, wake up."
Mm-hmm.
It's like, to find somebody like that is going to be your cheerleader is
Mm-hmm.
so rare. So I'm just saying.
Yeah. And I think it's like she sees that he can be so great if he like
Mm-hmm.
puts in the effort and it might not be the easiest path, but like he can produce such great work. And
Right.
he kind of wants the easier path, right? Well, I
Yeah.
can sell this and get some money from Hollywood and then I can write some more stuff in Hollywood and make a bunch of money and like that'll be a good life.
I don't have to agonize over, finishing my novel or finishing
Mm-hmm.
a novel. So, and
Yeah.
but
And, I mean, I guess that's a way to do things. Maybe it's not the worst way to do things, but I think that like
no, but
there was potential for so much more and he just like didn't want to put in the
I,
effort. And
I
I just
admire
wish that
people.
like Katie like recognized that earlier. Not to say that like she shouldn't have, like she loves him and like I get it, but it's like
Mm-hmm.
he's not giving that back to you.
No,
And you're
not
worthy of someone giving it back to you.
exactly. I was going to say, so, I
This is
admire
this is
people
not
who,
any Katie's out there, okay? If you're listening to this, you are worthy of that, okay? The energy and love you put into someone, you're worthy of getting it back. And you don't need to stick around with someone just because they're good looking like Robert Redford, okay?
sorry. And I was going to say, I admire people who have such passion,
Mm-hmm.
who really feel that deeply about anything. Um, and so I give advice then to all the Hubbles out there. Listen, fellas, if you find somebody like Katie, and Katie is like doing that, listen, they're worth it. They're worth the effort.
Yes.
So
It's like JJ said, that's a loss. If you lose a Katie, that's a loss because that is
loss,
somebody.
exactly. And
Some damn body.
and
It's
then
from a poem.
while a lot of people might say, oh, I'd rather have Hubble's life, or I'd rather have Hubble's talent, or whatever it may be.
Mhm.
Maybe, but maybe I'd rather have Katie's passion
Yeah.
and
And
her
I think
commitment.
at some point that talent only gets you so far because he wasn't doing that well at adapting his novel.
No, but and maybe it was because then he wasn't trying to be a complete sellout, but now he's writing TV, and so it
hmm
could be that I'm not saying that's not it's not good writing or whatever, but it's different writing.
hmm
Um, it's a
hmm
difference between writing Moby Dick and an episode of Gilligan's Island. So
Yeah. 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 But yeah, I think, and
They're
I
both
think that
entertaining, but in different ways.
that's what Katie warned him about though, because she was like, no, 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 they're just gonna try to cheapen your work. You're too good for that. And he went
Hmm.
into it like, oh yeah, no, no, no. I'm like I can get them to sort of do what I
Yeah,
want. And like, no, you can't.
yeah. Yeah, even with the discussion with the director, he said because the director said finally he goes, "All right, but no conflict, no."
Hmm.
And he goes, "No, no con." He gave in. So
Hmm. Yep. 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 Well, who's in this movie? Let me tell you.
a couple of nobodies.
Couple of nobodies. Katie Morosky, played by Barbara Streisand. EGOT, legend, diva.
And still
Um,
with us. I think she's
yes.
80, 85 now, I think.
Yeah.
So,
She is, I think you probably know her as a singer. Like she's a very famous singer. She's a very famous just like woman. She released like a memoir, a really long memoir recently. She cloned her dog. I think she has a mall under her house. Like she's kind of like a like I said, a diva legend. Um
hmm.
she uh has been in a bunch of movies also. Um Actually, I'll say some of her famous songs, The Way We Were, Evergreen, You Don't Bring Me Flowers, No More Tears, Enough is Enough, Woman in Love, lots of things. She's been in a lot of movies. Funny Girl, Hello Dolly, What's Up Doc. She was in the 1970s version of A Star is Born with Chris Christopherson. She was in Yentl, which she not only starred in, but she wrote, produced it, and directed it. Um, she won a Golden Globe for Best Director at that time. She also produced and directed The Prince of Tides and The Mirror Has Two Faces. And she's also in other movies, like she was in Meet the Fockers as
Yeah,
Ben
she was
Stiller's
funny in that.
mom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was funny. So,
So yeah, she's really funny. So yeah, she's been in a bunch of stuff. Hubble is played by Robert Redford, who this is his fifth movie that we've watched. He was
sorry.
in The Sting. Oh yeah, it's very sad to have to watch Robert Redford a lot.
I
Um,
he was in a lot of good movies, I
he's
thought,
in a lot of good
I,
movies. He's a good
yes.
actor. He's a good looking dude. No one's complaining.
Okay.
He was in The Sting, All the President's Men, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, and The Natural, out of the things we've talked about. Also in Captain America and the Winter Soldier, which we're definitely going to be watching at some point. One of us is going to
Hmm.
pick it. Uh,
Could be a mutual pick.
Yeah. Barefoot in the Park, The Candidate, 3 Days of the Condor, Out of Africa, Indecent Proposal, All is Lost. Many, many things. He also, again, like invented like the Sundance Film Festival and Sundance Institute. So he was a big pioneer, a big supporter proponent of independent film.
Yep. Like the indie film industry. So,
Yes. His friend JJ, played by Bradford Dillman, who was also in a bunch of movies and TV. A couple of the movies he was in: Compulsion, The Iceman Cometh, Circle of Deception, Escape from Planet of the Apes. I don't know if anything comes to mind for you, Jim.
I remember a lot from TV shows and stuff. He did a lot of back in the 70s and so on. So he was and he like I told Lindsay, he always played like the either the buddy or the
Hmm.
sleazy buddy or the drunken buddy, but he was never
Yeah,
the leading man, but he was always,
yeah.
the
It looks
second
like he did a
banana.
lot of TV movies, and then he did like
Yeah.
some episodes of Alfred Hitchcock Presents and Mission Impossible. Um, yeah, so lots of things.
Yeah.
Um,
Capable.
Carol Ann, his wife slash Hubble's college girlfriend slash affair partner, played by Lois Chiles. She was in Moonraker, James Bond film as Holly Goodhead. She was also in The Great Gatsby, the 1970s one with Robert Redford. Death on the Nile, Broadcast News. She also played Holly Harwood on the show Dallas.
Oh, okay. All right. So
George Bissinger, the director, played by Patrick O'Neill. He was in things including Kaz, The Stepford Wives, like Father Like Son, El Condor, lots of other movies and stuff too.
he was a familiar face on TV as well. So
Hmm.
he did a lot of TV movies and it was
Yeah.
in a lot of TVs.
Kaz was a TV show, I think.
I I think so, but he usually played a heavy. He usually played
Yeah.
or not and not like a gangster type, but always like the the smart villain, kind of guy. So,
Mm. Hmm. Paula Reisner, producer lady, played by Vivica Lindfors, who's actually Swedish in real life.
oh, okay.
Um, she was also in films such as Night Unto Night, No Sad Songs for Me, Dark City, The Halliday Brand, King of Kings, An Affair of the Skin, Creepshow, The Sure Thing, and Stargate.
She
She
was the old lady professor in Stargate. That's what I remember her
okay.
from too.
She
Yeah.
worked for Warner Brothers, so she worked with a lot of famous people. Like she worked with Ronald Reagan, Charlton Heston, Glenn Ford, Errol
Oh,
Flynn. And she did Broadway. A lot of these people did Broadway too. And then, as I mentioned, Bill Verso, who was Katie's boss, played by Herb Edelman, who you've seen in The Odd Couple and or Golden Girls. That's like the main cast. There's a few other people. I don't know. Like we
yeah, and
said, James
even
Woods and Frankie McVeigh. Um,
which
the
was a
lady,
very small role.
yes, yeah. These are the kind of main people you see on screen. So, um, but yeah, so I thought that it was an interesting movie. It's another one that I think is like kind of like a considered sort of like a classic, like
Hmm.
a big movie that is, you know, impactful, culturally significant. So I'm glad to have seen it. I'm mad
Glad.
at Hubble. I don't like Hubble. I think that you could write a version of this movie that took place right now.
Oh, I'd heard that they wanted to make a sequel, but it never came to fruition.
Hmm.
This was the only movie that Barbra Streisand and Robert Redford were in together. But
Hmm.
there was call for a sequel, but evidently it never worked out.
Yeah.
So
I
but
don't think there should be a sequel. I think this their story
no,
is
yeah,
over.
I think it's fine standing on its own.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
um,
But I would be interested to see like a modern
version of
remake of
this.
this. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, because I think that
Yeah,
there's a lot of parallels in that era of history and now, and I think you could see something similar. Also because there's always so many articles about how like girls don't like, you know, more conservative guys can't like find girls to date
yeah.
and there's always girls online complaining on like dating apps guys will be like not political and it's like so it's like that's I'm like that's Hubble. He's a on his Hinge profile it says not political.
Maybe you could reverse the roles. You could, have the guy be the political activist and the woman be the sort of easygoing, take it as it comes person. So
Mm,
just
that's
yeah,
true.
yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, but yeah, I could see, well, the project for you,
There we go.
Miss
That's my
Screenwriter.
I'll
So
add that on the list.
so
Do a remake of The Way We Were for modern times.
by the way, for our listeners, so if you all want to see a modern day version of Katie, as far as enthusiasm and passion, my podcast partner.
Oh, well, I don't know about that. That's very kind of you
I
though.
No, no, I think somebody who's very talented and also has very strong beliefs and you know um, also would probably look good wearing a snood. If you all don't know what a snood is, it's a little hair covering, which Katie wears in the movie at one point. So
She does. She does.
so
But yeah, I couldn't stand a Hubble though.
oh well, no, I wouldn't expect you to, but I'm just saying so. But yeah, if it
That's
was
why I'm
somebody
like,
that
Katie, girl, stand up.
exactly,
Stand
exactly,
up, Katie.
yeah. So
Stand up for yourself the way you stand up for the people of Spain.
right, exactly. So
But again, I think that that is like a real I think this movie is like dramatic.
hmm
That's which is I think that's maybe one thing that like I don't love as much. I don't love like a big drama. But I
hmm
do think that like at its root, like these characters are like real people. Like I
hmm
that there are people like this, they get in relationships and this happens. Like that I think is completely grounded and real and believable. Obviously, I think, you know, it's a drama, so it's a little more over the top than like
well,
people would
sure.
interact in real life. But I think that like that these like types of people and the conflicts are very real.
Agreed. So, and I do like the way that they wove in real history into the story as well,
Hmm.
from this time period, and then I liked how the author, the screenwriter and stuff, how they, took real life events and then made it all part of the story. So,
Hmm.
uh, I like when things like that, happen where it's
Yeah.
like, they use that as either a backdrop and or as an element of the
Hmm.
plot line. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
anyway,
I appreciated that too. I thought that that was cool because I think a lot
so
of times, like when we're dealing with romance, they don't always include like the context because they want it to be like timeless or whatever. But I think that
right.
it this is real life. The stuff that's
Yeah.
happening impacts you.
Yeah. So, and I do think the movie was beautifully photographed.
Hmm. Hmm.
Just the scenes and everything like that. I thought, the director really did a good job of and also I really like the costumes and,
Yes. I was
uh,
gonna say, if you like, I think, watch the movie, give it a chance, see what you think. But even if you don't, just look up like Robert Redford and Barbara Streisand in The Way We Were, just to see like how they look, what they're wearing. It's great. Like
okay.
I want to try to do the eye makeup that Barbara Streisand was wearing. I don't think I can do it, but I will endeavor to. Because she has this sort of like eyeshadow not like on her eye, but like over her eye in a sort of cat
Yeah,
eye. It reminded
I
me, it was
know.
very like Cleopatra.
Very, almost like Egyptian, kind of.
Hmm.
But I mean, but she, like I said, I don't think she's ever looked better. So, just
Yeah.
saying.
She looked
So,
great. So,
yeah, yeah.
um,
And Bob looked fabulous as Bob did. So,
yeah, always.
sorry, I
Always.
call him Bob. So,
People used to joke. I read when he like passed away, people were joking. A lot of like women my age online that were like, "This is the only like adult man. Adult men should not be blonde, except for Robert Redford,
really
the only adult man that's allowed to be blonde."
be blonde. So,
Hmm.
yeah, he got away with it. So, I mean,
It
he's
worked for
somebody.
him.
It really
It
did.
really worked for
So,
him.
Um,
So,
one of the small issues I had when they were showing him while he was in during the war, he was
mm,
in the uniform. His hair was way too long for standards.
mm,
So,
hmm,
but who would dare cut that hair? I'm just saying.
right,
So it'd be
right,
like Samson. So
exactly, exactly.
you give Robert a buzz cut and it's gone. So
Yeah. Oh my
uh,
God. I shuddered. I shudder at the thought.
because his hairstyle kind of stayed the same all throughout his career. So
Yeah. Hmm.
more or less. It got a little grayer as he got older, but it
Yeah.
was so. I don't know if he wore a piece later on, but his hair has always looked good. So,
It certainly did. Certainly did.
well, thank you for watching. Like I said, one that meant a lot to me, especially from almost 60 years ago. So,
Oh wow.
55 years for me. So yeah, it's been a
Yeah.
while. So, uh,
Well, yeah. And for people who want to watch, I watched it on Turner Classic Movies. I'm sure it comes on there pretty regularly. Like
probably
not it's not rare to see it on
no.
there, I
And
imagine.
between Barbara, Sidney Pollack, and Robert Redford, like one of those people will come up in like some of their showings and stuff. So they'll show
Hmm.
this movie. So,
Yeah. So I guess they showed it the other day for Robert Redford's birthday. So I don't know. I don't know
yeah, they'll
when
probably,
Barbara Streisand's birthday is, but maybe they'll show it again then.
or, a retrospective of Sidney Pollack movies or whatever on the
Yeah.
anniversary of his
Yeah.
passing or something. So, and it's a longer movie.
It's like 2 hours.
Yeah. So, but it's been a long time since I'd seen the movie all the way through. So
Hmm.
it's not shown as often, as it used to be on TV and stuff because, I just guess people, sort of, it's getting older now. But like you said, you can catch it on Turner Classic, and I'm
Yeah.
sure it's probably available. If it's probably at the library, I would
Hmm.
think. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah. You can definitely find it. So, well, thank you all for listening. Please be sure to subscribe wherever you're listening to this so you can get our episodes delivered to you every Monday when they come out. Please leave a rating, review, or a comment. Hopefully, it's a nice one, or else we will report you to the House Un American Activities Committee. We will give your name. You
and
can
you'll
follow
find a
us,
microphone hidden in your house somewhere.
check your paintings. Please follow us on Instagram at Some of Our Parts Pod. You can see all the movies that we've covered. This is episode 121, so there are many, many movies. You can see little previews of what's to come whenever we have a new episode coming out and whatever else we decide to share. Lately, we've been sharing things about the upcoming Romeo and Michelle sequel, shared clips of the now late, sadly, Hayden Panettiere in Remember the Titans, may she rest in peace, and other things related to movies we've talked about. I think we shared some Robert Redford for his birthday, so check out whatever we're sharing there. And with that, bye bye.
Take care.